Using grids in your photography lighting can transform your images. The purpose of a grid is to concentrate the light to a narrower beam. It stops the light spilling into other areas. So using a grid, you can concentrate light in particular areas. You can separate your subject from the background. You can light your subject and not your background. You can change the shape of the light on your background simply by using grids on your lights, be they flash or constant lights. You can use grids on softboxes, you can use them on speed lights, you can use them on studio strobes, you can use them on torches or flashlights. You can use them in a number of different ways to enhance your images. In this video, I'm going to teach you about using grids. We also have a live studio shoot with our model, Angela, where I'm going to demonstrate these techniques and show you probably 7 or 8 different uses of grids, different ways that you can create images with grids on your lights. You don't need expensive stuff. You can do all of this stuff with speed lights or with constant light, but it does make a difference if you've got those large soft lights available to you. You can use commercially available grids or you can make your own. I've made many grids and lighting accessories over the years. You can use them outdoors, you can use them indoors, you can use them with hard light or soft light. I shoot mostly people, so that's where I use grids. I use grids to separate my subject from the background. I use grids to be a little bit more creative. It just makes my images stand out a little bit more. And you can do so much with grids to place light where you want it to be. As I said, I shoot mostly people, but you can use grids for any purpose in photography. You can use it for commercial work, for still life. You can even use it for real estate or landscape photography. The possibilities are endless, but being able to control your light is the big factor here. I often use grids on a large softbox, which you may think is a little bit counterproductive, but I can use that softbox to concentrate the light on my subject without getting light in other parts of my image. I can keep the light away from the foreground, because the one problem when you're using light in an outdoor situation is that the light impinges on the foreground and makes the foreground, particularly the ground, look a bit brighter. So I can feather that light with my grid to make that light more precise and to keep the light away from areas that I don't want it to impinge on. I can use grids to light a particular part of my image, as you'll see with the shoot that we do with Angela. I can create drama and direction with my light, much more obviously than I can with soft light or with normal hard light that spreads out wider. Because we use grids most often with hard light, because it's more spectacular that way, we need to be fairly precise with the way that we position our light. We need to be positioning that light in the correct way. So it may take a couple of tries to get it right, in the right position. In the studio, we can light backgrounds with various different shapes of light, different colors of light, different directions that make our background stand out a little bit more. We can separate our subject from the background, as I've mentioned before, because that light doesn't spill on our background. The other great thing about grids is that when you light someone with a small pool of light, it doesn't contaminate light from another source. So I can use 2, 3, 4, 5 different lights with grids precisely positioned so that they don't impinge on the other lights in the set, particularly if I'm using gels. I don't want my main light to lessen the intensity of my blue light on my background or my red light on the rim of my subject. So I can precisely position these lights so they don't contaminate those other colours. The colours are more pure. There are other ways to control the spread of light. We can use snoots, we can use barn doors, we can use feathering. There are a number of different ways we can control the spill of light. But grids tend to be the easiest, they tend to be the more precise, and it's quicker to use grids in most cases. But this video is about using grids, so that's what I'm going to do. Have a look at this video of Angela in the studio. You'll see a number of different setups that I use. I'm using grids for all of my lights, and you'll see the results that we get. G'day, we're in the studio today using grids. We're doing a photo shoot with Angela, only using grids. We've got grids for various different light sources that we use. If you're not sure what a grid is a device that fits over the front of your light or your light modifier to concentrate the light. All the grid does is it stops the spread of light. So if you want that light concentrated on a particular area, you can use a grid to do that. You can use various sorts of grids that will concentrate the light more or less. You can also move your light further back or further forward to concentrate that light more or less. We can have grids on softboxes. We can have grids on strip boxes, as you can see behind me. We can have grids on studio strobes, on speed lights, on beauty dishes. We're going to go through all of these today and explain to you how to use them and show you the results that we can get. Now, a couple of things you need to think about when you're using grids. The first one is, whenever you put anything on front of your light, be it a flash or a continuous light, it's generally going to reduce the effective power of that light because that grid or that device will soak up a little bit of light. So you may need to turn up your lights a little bit brighter than you would normally do. The other thing that you need to think about when you're using grids is that the shadows become very important because we're mostly using grids with hard light. So those shadows become very important. We can use those shadows in the shot to create a different look to our image, but we need to be careful, particularly when we're shooting people, that we get that light on the model's face or your client's face that's going to look attractive. So using hard light's a little bit more tricky than using soft light, but I'll show you as we go through and you'll see the results that we get. Now, when you're using grids, it does concentrate the spread of light, but it doesn't make your light harder or softer because your light source is still exactly the same size. All the grid does is concentrate it to a smaller area. Now, a big advantage of grids is that you can light a small area and it's not going to contaminate other lights that you might use. So if we've got a light on the background and I'm lighting my model with a large softbox, then that softbox light can contaminate the light on the background and change it. Either change its color if I've got it gelled or just change how intense it is. So we need to be cognizant of these things too when we're using gels. Another thing that we can use gels for is to reduce lens flare. When we have light coming directly into our camera, we often get lens flare in our image. So if we use grids, it tends to hide the main light source from our lens and gives us less lens flare. It's not going to work if the light is directly into the lens, directly at the camera. But if the flash is a little bit off center, that grid's going to protect the lens from lens flare. All right, we're just going to start off with a gridded softbox on Angela. It's the only light that we've got. The advantage of having the grid on there is that it concentrates the light. So we're going to get less spill around the rest of the studio that could contaminate the light a little bit. So Angela, what I want you to do is just stand there, turn your face towards the light, maybe cross your feet over a little bit. Yeah, that's it. And eyes just above my head, just here. Yeah, that's it. Okay, great. Here we go. All right, terrific. Our black background is a little bit stark, but we're going to improve on that as we go through. We're going to play around with different lights, put a little bit of light on the background and see the difference that makes. So now I've got a gridded speed light, lighting that background just to throw a bit of light on there, just to separate Angela from that black background. I might have to replace it. Here we go, Ange. That's it. I might have to place it in a different spot, move it across a little bit. You can see how that gridded speed light is concentrated. The light's only in a small area. If I didn't have it gridded, it would be spreading much wider, which still would look good, but we're using grids today. That's great. Okay, terrific. You can see that if I powered up my speed light a little bit more, I'd get a little bit more separation, but I really like it the way that is. The next thing we're going to do is use those two gridded strip boxes in the background. I've got red gels in them just to make it a little bit more interesting, and Angie's got this warm coloured top, so we're going to turn them on, and that's going to give us a bit of rim lighting on either side. We're going to use just one of those strip lights in the background so that it throws a little bit of red onto Angela, just a little bit of rim light on camera left. Then we'll put the other one on later and you'll see the result that gets. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Those back strip lights are gridded because we don't want that light to spread too far. We only need it on the edges of Angela, and I don't want that light to flare into my camera either. So that's why it's gridded, to help me with that flare. So I'm going to turn the other one on now, and that's going to give us a rim light on both sides. Shoulder spec this way a little bit? We'll have to include that bit. Okay, that's great, Angela. Here we go. Terrific. Maybe tilt that head down a little. Yeah, great. Great. Now you can see we've got red on both sides of Angela now. If we didn't have those lights gelled, we would just get white light. We could gel them any colour that we want to. We're going to play around with that a little bit later on. But that looks fantastic. So now we're going to play around with something a little bit more interesting. We're going to get Angela changed, and we're going to concentrate that light a little bit more. We're going to use a beauty dish with a grid on it. So we've got this beauty dish here, which is effectively a concentrated light because of the bowl on the beauty dish. That's one of the benefits of a beauty dish. This one's very small because I'm not a big fan of beauty dishes. I like the small one, but I don't really like the larger ones. I've got a grid on this just to concentrate that light a little bit more onto Angela's face. Because what I want to try and do here is light her face, but leave the rest of her as a silhouette against that background. So we may have to light the background to do that, but I'll just take a shot and see how it looks to start with. Okay, we'll just do a couple of tests. Yeah, that's it. Just look up towards that. That's good. Yeah, that's lovely. So you can see that light on Angela's face, and her shoulders looks really good, but I haven't really got any separation in the bottom of the frame. So I'm just going to use a speed light to throw onto that white background, just to give me some light on the background to silhouette Angela's lower half of her body. And again, I'm using the grid on the speed light because I want to concentrate that light down to the spot where it's going to work best. Okay, here we go. Great. Yes, terrific. Now you can see that light on the background. Gives me that interesting look of the light on Angela's head and shoulders, but the silhouette of the bottom of the frame. So I'm going to shoot a little bit more wide so we get her whole body in the shot. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's good. Now you can see I've lost her feet a little bit. So I'm going to move that speed light back a bit so that it's going to spread the light out a little bit more. I could take the grid off and just use the zoom on the speed light, but that would be cheating, wouldn't it? So just doing it this way. And of course, because I moved the speed light further back, I need to increase the power a little bit. Okay, here we go. Great. That's fantastic, Angela. Yep, maybe turn a little bit around towards the light a little bit more. Yeah, that's it. Good, yeah. Okay, just kick your back foot back a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Good. Shoulders this way a little. Yeah. Terrific. Okay, that's good. You can see the effect that that has. So as you can see, it's just a matter of finessing these gridded lights to get the light in the spots that you want it to be in. We're going to change it around a little bit now and do something a bit more unusual. We're going to throw Angela's face into darkness, but we're going to light her clothes to put emphasis on the outfit that she's wearing. Okay, so I'm going to drop this down here. And we're going to pull this, leave that where that is. That's great. You can see the difference that makes. We're lighting her outfit, but we're not lighting her face. That looks really nice. I like that effect. So the same, yeah, keep those feet forward like you just did. Yeah, that's good. Okay, here we go. Can you push your hair back off that back shoulder? Because I want to get a nice clean silhouette of your face, and I want your nose pointed straight over there for me. Yeah, that's it. Great. Okay, that's good. I'm just going to move that speed light up a little bit more, tilt it upwards so that we can get a little bit more light behind Angela's face. Go. Now it's important that I don't get any of this spill light onto Angela, because I want this light concentrated just on the background. If I had it facing a little bit more over here, I might get some of that light spilling onto her arm or her shoulders. I don't want that. I want that cone of light just to light that background. Okay, that pose looks great, Ange. Yep. Just turn your face around a little bit more away from me. Yeah, that's it. Good. Okay, there you go. You can see that concentrated light works really well. So this technique would work really well for a fashion type shoot, because you're lighting the garment, putting more attention on the garment or the outfit, and less attention on the model herself. Whenever I'm shooting for those high level expensive fashion magazines, which I never do, this is one technique I could use. That's good. To there. So now we're just going to do a head and shoulders shot of Angela. We've got that beauty dish in really close with the grid. The reason why I love these small beauty dishes is because I can shoot with that light very close, and because of the inverse square law, which we all know, that allows that light to drop off pretty quickly from her face to the back of her head and her shoulders. It gives me an unusual look that I can't get with any other device. So I've turned that flash down really low powered because it's very close to Angela. I don't want to burn her eyes out, not yet. So we're going to do that. I might need to adjust my aperture a little bit just to get that exposure correct. Did you forget to turn it on?
No, I just trying to figure out why. I don't know.
Just zoom in a little bit closer. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful light from that small beauty dish with the grid on the front. If I took the grid off, the beauty dish would still look good, but it's just a different sort of look than having that concentrated light from the grid. Okay, so now we're going to be using strobe light. We're going to be using a standard studio flash that has the cone on the front of it. We put this cone on the front to concentrate the light and push it a bit further forward, but we can concentrate it even more if we use a grid. Now the grid will fit inside the front of the cone here and concentrate that light. We can get grids of different degrees that will spread that light more or less. So we've got one here that's about 10 degrees, another one here that's about 5 degrees, and one that's about 20 degrees. So depending on which one we put on, that will change the pool of light that's lighting Angela. So we're going to start with the 20 degree one first to see what that looks like, and we might concentrate it later. Now you'll notice we're shooting today with the studio lights on. We've got some fluorescent lights in the ceiling that light the room. They aren't going to affect the results that we get here at all. You've seen some of the shots we've done, the background's been completely black, even though we've had these room lights on, because the flashes that we use and the lights that we use are much more powerful than these studio lights. So we can get around, we don't have to bump into things, and we can still get the results that we want. Okay, Angela, we've got light coming in from that side, so we want your face turned a little bit that way. Yep, that's it. And okay, here we go. All right. Now you can see from that image that it looks pretty atrocious. Not because Angela's in there, but because I haven't got that lighting sorted. That 20 degree grid is a little bit too tight. So I can do a number of things. I can move that further back so that that will spread that light a little bit more. Or I could change the grid to put a lesser one on that will spread it more. Or, more interestingly, I could put a second gridded light to light Angela's face, and that's going to make it a little bit more interesting. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that looks cool. Okay, we'll try that. So the light on your face is this way. So I want your face that way. Yeah, that's it. Okay, and eyes to me, Angela. Yep. Okay. You can see that. We've got that gridded light on Angela's face. It's a little bit too wide for my liking. I want it to be a little bit more concentrated. So what do? I move it in closer, because the closer it is, the more concentrated it's going to be on her face. That's great pose, looks terrific. Here we go. Okay, that's good. Except my light, because I moved it closer, it's brighter, so I need to turn it down a bit. So I'm down to 132 power on that speed light. Here we go. Yeah, terrific. You can see now that that's matching up quite well. I want Angela's face to be a little bit brighter than the outfit or the rest of her body, just because I want to concentrate that light on her face. You can see I've got a fairly sharp background shadow there. That's not a problem for me. I love having shadows in the shot. As long as it doesn't detract from the main subject, I think it adds interest in this particular situation. Okay, we'll do a few shots like that. Ange, yep, that's it. Great. Okay, here we go. Yep. Just look out over my head, just where my fingers are here. Yeah, that's it. Good. Couple of shots with your hands up, maybe. Yep. That's it. Terrific. One more. Yep. Okay. That's nice. That looks great. You can see how unusual that lighting looks, simply because we're lighting her from two different directions. And we can do that with our grids because one light doesn't bleed into the other light. So it works so much better if you've got these small grid lights. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that gridded light a long way away, over to the right of camera, and that light's going to be coming in on an angle to light Angela. We're just going to use the one light, but we're going to position it in a way that it's going to light her whole body.
Yeah.
We can do that.
How do I do the contrast with like something?
Okay, so we need to get your face turned that way. Yeah, looking out that way. That's great. Stay there. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to move in a bit closer. Yep. Good. Maybe that hand at the side, just sort of out like that. Yeah. Okay. Just bend your knee in a little bit. Yeah. That's it. Terrific. You can see how that shadow really adds impact to that shot in the background. We've got the lit side of Angela against that dark part of the background, and then we've got the lighter background on the other side. I think that works really well. Unusual lighting, just with a single light and a grid. We could do the same thing with a speed light and a grid. We're going to get the same result. It's just that we might have to power it up a little bit more to get it to light Angela from that distance. What we're going to do now, we've switched to the black background again. We're going to use those two strip boxes in the background that have got red gels to throw a bit of a rim light around on Angela. And I'm just going to light her face and her shoulders with this speed light. It's got a grid on the front, so it's going to concentrate that light. All I need to do is to turn the power of the speed light up or down to match those rim lights, or move the light further or closer. Okay, so we'll shoot a shot like that. Here we go. Yeah, that looks great. You can see that red just picks up the shot a little bit, but we've got a little bit of darkness down on the bottom right and in the background. So what I'm going to do is go a little bit crazy with these gels. I'm going to put a blue gel on the background just to lift it up a little bit more. It gives us that little bit of blue in that background, just to lift it. That's it. Great, Ange. Just going to move in, eyes to me, please. Yeah. Great. Yep. Shoulders, yeah. Good. Just look out above my head here. Yep. Okay. Yeah, love that. That looks awesome. All right. So you can see just adding a couple of bits of colour to those gel shots, it makes the shot look so much more interesting. So what we've got, that looks amazing. That looks really good. So we've got that light coming down from there, okay? It's pretty radical. I need you in a bit closer to it, yep. So if you look up, you can see the flash through that grid. Maybe move a little bit to your left, yeah, okay. We're doing something a little bit more radical this time. I've got my speed light with the grid on it up very high. It's up about 3 meters above ground level. So that light's going to be coming down onto Angela like a street light maybe, or a spotlight from above. So it's no good having me get her to face the camera because she's going to have a lot of dark shadows on her face. So we're going to tilt her head up a little bit so that light's a little bit kinder to her, but it's going to look a bit more radical. We're got this pink outfit that looks really cool. I've loaned this to Angela for the shoot today, but we've still got that blue light in the background just to throw a little bit of contrast in there. Okay, yeah, so tilt up, looking up that way, yep, that's it. Yeah, that's good. Maybe look over my head rather than at the camera, yeah, that's more comfortable. Okay, yeah, love that, that's good. Yeah, now look up at the light, tilt your head back, yep, that's it. I need to shoot a little bit more slowly because my speed light's on full power on the background and it takes a little while. Okay, here we go. A little while to recharge. Okay, yeah, that looks great. Maybe turn a little bit more to the side, Angela. Yep, that's it. And looking up there. Yeah. Good. Turn your shoulders back to me, but keep your face to the side. Yep. Tilt your head up. Yep, that's it. Okay, one last one. Waiting for the flash. Okay, here we go. We're doing something a little bit different now again. We're going to use a bit of continuous light with the flash. So my continuous light is on continuously. My flash will give me a sharp image of Angela because it's instantaneous. But then after that instantaneous exposure, I'm going to have my shutter speed on maybe 2 seconds so that Angela can move around a little bit, and this continuous light will give me a little bit of blur in amongst that, that sharp image. I'm still going to use a grid on my continuous light because I want just to light her pink outfit so that that pink is the thing that moves around and gives me the colour on the background. No, the problem with having it the same direction as my flash is that the continuous light gives me an exposure over the top of my flash. I want to try and get that just rim light on her hips, and as she moves around it's just going to give that little bit of movement on the sides. We're doing something a little bit different here, surprise, surprise. We're using a few different gelled lights and a few different gridded lights to create this image. Now, the kicker for this image is that we're using a slower shutter speed. So I'm shooting at 2 seconds, which will give me a sharp image of Angela with those flashes when they fire. And then after the flashes fire, my shutter's still open, which will allow Angela to move around a little bit, and we'll get a little bit of movement in that shot as well, particularly with the pink shiny outfit that she's got on. All right, with lights, please. Okay, all right, here we go. Click. That's it. All right, focus. You just stay where you are, and I'm going to move the camera. Okay. Now, in the interest of being an honest photographer, an honest YouTuber, that didn't work at all. We tried a number of different setups, but the modeling light from our beauty dish couldn't be turned off, so it was causing some blur in that image. So what I did was that I modified the technique. I took the shot and then I shook my camera. I moved my camera around with some intentional camera movement. And these are the results that we got. This is the sort of thing I was looking for previously, but we just got it in a different way. All right, for our last shot today, we're going to go a little bit more wild. We've got our 2 red edge lights in the back here with the grids. We've got a speed light in behind Angela with a blue gel that's going to light her hair. We're going to put a bit of a fan on her hair to blow her hair around a little bit. We've got a yellow gel on this side with a speed light and a grid just to throw a little bit of complementary colour on this side. And her face is going to be lit from the white light on the beauty dish with the grid. Good, yep. Okay. Good. Just need to shoot a little bit more slowly. Yep. Okay, can you get in closer, Janine? I want that hair blowing it even more. Yeah, that's the sort of thing I want. Yep. That's it. Yep, here we go. Good. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I think that might do it, guys. Thank you very much. Awesome. So there you go. Grids will concentrate the light, allow you to play around with different coloured light, different pools of light. They don't contaminate other lights in the set. You can use 1 light or you can use 5 or 6 or 7 if you want to. We had a great shoot today. You saw all the photographs that we got. If you want to learn a little bit more about grids, have a look at the description below. If you've got any comments, please let me know. If you hate what I do, let me know. Any comment that you've got will be greatly appreciated. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next video.